He's guarded by Rudy. He penetrates into Favors, blocked by the Wasatch front. Oh, here comes Alec. Open floor, Schroeder's back, Euro steps in, puts it out the window and in. Alec was on his tippy toes, about to travel, held his core strength, did not lose his balance and put it off the window and in. It is simply remarkable, unbelievable display of balance by Alec Burks.
Fun one in Atlanta. Just watched the fourth quarter. Jazz were good. Let's watch it together on a snowy Monday, November 16th. Plus, we'll go NBA 5. Look at some lineup stuff around the league. It's all coming up on today's edition of Tip Off. Pow! How are you? I'm David Locke, radio voice of the Utah Jazz, Jazz NBA insider. I might have to drop the blind back there. Not that I think any of you really care what I look like, and we're going to do a lot of video today. You can ask questions. Let me know. I'm risking it today. We're going back to video and everything else. The thought is that I have something really cool to show you, and so it's worth it. On the road, I'm probably not trying it as often. I'm going to continue to work and see what I can do to mastermind system. I've jerry-rigged this system pretty good. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. As I've said before, you'll notice most podcasts don't do video also unless they're with the big four-letter conglomerate with a whole production staff, and you're looking at the production staff on this thing. So I'm David Locke, radio voice of the Jazz, Jazz NBA insider. If you've never tuned in before, welcome. We open up the show usually with a quick look around the NBA at some things, and then we open up the show. We take and then we dig deep into the Utah Jazz. We also have a fun feature that we run called Pins Across the World. I've really enjoyed getting to meet numerous fans. There was a nice guy, I forgot his name right now. I apologize. Who I met who was at both Orlando and Atlanta. A lot of our Jazz families. I saw the Haywards and the Burks and the Lyles. Traveled around on that road trip, so we had a lot of family around. Rodney had a bunch of people from Mississippi. Derek obviously had a ton of people from Atlanta, so it was nice to see kind of the Jazz family come together in that fashion and spend that time together as well. They've really become a nice, close-knit group. I think the Hawaii trip may have had something to do with that a little bit, not from the parents, but from the wives' standpoint, and I think we're seeing a nice togetherness being built out of this. All right, let's quickly jump out to see who our fan across the world is today. It is Mike Jones, and he lives in Orem, Utah. I grew up Boston Celtic fan mostly because of BYU connection with Danny Ainge. Ended up idolizing Larry Bird. Loved their run through the 80s. I never paid much attention to the Jazz. As part of my punishment for neglecting the Jazz as a kid, they go to 2 NBA finals when I'm out of the country on a mission in Brazil. But televised the finals in Brazil, and the locals all watched because of Michael Jordan. However, many of them soon became fans of the underdog Jazz, as we played so well in the 2 finals. The Brazilian people started calling me and my companion the Utah Jazz out in the streets, mostly because those were the only English words they knew and that we were from Utah. People would ask if we knew John and Carl personally and what it was like to live close to an NBA team. The fact that the Jazz were on TV helped get the word out about Utah basketball, LDS Church, and really helped us seem like normal people rather than weird missionaries from Utah or Orlando. Sorry, Book of Mormon joke. In a way, we felt like we represented our church, our state, and our team to the people of the Brazilian town. I have been a Jazz fan ever since and married an even bigger Jazz fan. My wife's high school graduation was the night of Stockton shot. Most of the audience had a Walkman, remember that, on during the graduation. The place went nuts when John made the shot. The poor girl on the stage had no idea. There was a game going on, probably thought she was giving the best graduation talk ever. I never miss tip-off when I travel to the country for work. I always make sure to tune in so I know that there's what's going on back home. Thanks for the great show. P.S. I'm sure Raul Neto will increase our Brazilian fandom even more now. That is true, though my daughter, who's 10, is very upset Raul's not playing more. She'd like to see more Raul. I think it's because he's cute. All right, let's quickly jump to the NBA 5. It's early. I want to caution people just – there's a lot of really, really smart people that cover this team and cover the NBA, and there's a lot of people that are, frankly, not as and are getting sucked in by the numbers because you can, and I've done this plenty of times, you can act really smart by throwing numbers out there, but you please take a moment and dig into how much value there is. So I'm about to do some numbers, which I would caution you on. I do think we're getting to 10 games. I do think there's some things that have value. Frankly, what I think has the most value right now is if things are outliers. In other words, something that, you know, I think Boston's forcing like 20% of possessions into turnovers. That can't last. I think Charlotte's at like 10% committing turnovers. I think I heard both those on Nate Duncan's podcast today. All right, well, if that's those two things, like they've got to regress to the mean a little bit. It probably means they're the best in the league on both cases, but they have to regress to the mean. So be a little careful with this. But I thought one thing I like to look at this time of year is large sample size of lineups. So look at maybe the top lineups, 5-man lineups used in the league. Tells you a little bit of whether or not some of these teams with early starts are legit. So Detroit's starting 5 is played the most minutes of any group together. It tells you they have no bench and the Jody Meeks injury, so I think that's interesting. They're plus 8.6 so far. Pretty good. Memphis, for all the talk of their demise, their starting lineup is a plus 2.1, which is not bad. They got to figure out their bench is really what. And I've talked to some people around the league who think that they do too big a bench role for them. I thought, no surprise, but Lakers starting lineup's terrible. Here's what I thought was really interesting. The Suns starting lineup, Eric Bledsoe, Brandon Knight, Markieff Morris, PJ Tucker, and Tyson Chandler, plus 15 per 100 possessions in 127 minutes. Pretty legit. Charlotte's starting 5, Kemba, Nicholas Batum, PJ Harrison, Marvin Williams, Al Jefferson, plus 18 in 117 minutes. No surprise. Clippers starting lineup, plus 17. And no surprise, Thunder starting lineup, plus 20. So of the lineups they're getting a lot of time right now, the best is the Thunder, followed by Charlotte, followed by the Clippers, followed by the Cavaliers. And then worth noting, of all bizarre things, they've only played 80 minutes together, but like might be why they're not going to be 1-9. The Brooklyn Nets, I did the cutoff at 90 minutes, so that's why I didn't include them. But these two are worth noting. The Brooklyn Nets, who are, one in something, their starting lineup has played 80 minutes together, is plus 21.5, which is actually the best in the league. Weird, right? And Minnesota, with Ricky Rubio out recently, hasn't played particularly well. But with Rubio in the lineup with Tayshaun Prince, Karl Anthony Towns, Andrew Wiggins, and Kevin Garnett are plus 18. And one other to keep a small eye on is a interesting lineup by the Mavericks, which has not played a huge amount, which is Darren, Raymond Felton, Wesley Matthews as your 3, Dirk as your 4, and Zaza as your 5 is plus 28. That's of the top used lineups in the league, that's the best. Now, there's some that are interesting that are not working. There are 4 really that don't work at all that are worth noting here in the early going. One is what Orlando with Victor Oladipo. I watched them without Victor Oladipo. They're much better. They need to move Victor Oladipo. It doesn't work to have Elfrid Payton and Victor Oladipo on the floor together. Evan Fournier, Tobias Harris, and Nikolai Vukovic, they're minus 17.4 in just 77 minutes in 5 games. The Pacers with Monte Ellis, George Hill, CJ Miles, Paul George, Yamahimi, minus 15. Lakers we mentioned, and here's the other one of interest. Tony Parker, Danny Green, Kawhi Leonard, LaMarcus Aldridge, and Tim Duncan are minus 11 per 100 possessions. Surprising, isn't it? Really surprising. All right, now let's go do some fun stuff. Let's sit back together and focus on the Utah Jazz. I just watched the fourth quarter. I thought the Jazz were just fabulous. I have a bunch of talking points I want to get to, and I want to do them through video with you. First off, the hustle, commitment, understanding, and development is through the roof. These guys are busting their butt, making extra efforts, playing so smart, understanding what Quinn wants out of them. I have a really good friend who was a scout at the game last night. I texted him afterwards, what do you think? And he texted back, getting better. And at the time, I was like, wow, what a boring answer. But you know what? He's exactly right. It's the perfect answer for where the Jazz are and who they are right now, is getting better. Their engagement level is so high. Their commitment to winning is so good. It's a great sign. So I want to walk through the fourth quarter. I want to single out Alec Burks. His hustle and energy, just amazing. And his growth is huge. And then the coaching staff made an adjustment I can't get into at shoot-around yesterday that played largely into this game and really worked well. I can't get into specifics. I'd violate that. But I will be able to show you an adjustment that they made throughout the game. The first half, the Jazz had 14 turnovers and looked like a mess. And the coaching staff made an adjustment what they're doing with the bigs. And I'll show, and it showed up here in the fourth quarter. I'll show it to you. Then Atlanta adjusts back the other way. The Jazz adjust perfectly on the fly, which is incredible. Then Atlanta adjusts back again, and they got the Jazz a few times late. So we'll walk through that. Some very basic basketball, but it's good to watch. And actually, I think that this is if you have a basketball fan who's trying to learn the game a little bit more, wants to become kind of next level understanding of the game, this is a good one. I don't often say this, but our bigs are just getting screwed by the officials. There was a great moment in the game when I was rewatching the fourth quarter. Quinn's yelling, give me one call. Give me one call. The fouls on Gobert and Favors right now are just remarkable. And I don't like to be that guy, but I don't know what's going on about it. All right, so let's go and let's watch this together. Hopefully this will work. Okay. And I will kill the volume of Bob Rathman and Dominique Wilkins, though they do a nice job. Bob really does a nice job. All right. So here come the Hawks. This play I have written down. All right, a bunch of these plays, by the way, aren't going to be, just let me clarify, they aren't all great plays because every play doesn't turn out great. And this is where a lot of times I think, hopefully, if I can have an impact on you, this might alter the way you watch games a little bit, that the end result does not dictate your opinion of the play. This one goes into the amazing effort category of hustle, and particularly Rodney Hood getting out to take away a three by Kyle Korver. So here they come down, and and I'll give it back to you. It ends up being a Shelvin Mack layup through the lane because Gobert's not in the game, and so Booker can't alter as much. But if you watch this, here's a gorgeous pass. This is not great. Trevor and Rudy get outrun down the floor. It was on their Atlanta's board, outrun the Jazz bigs. They did it a few times. Here is Rodney Hood right here. Al Horford makes a catch. Out to Kyle Korver, the best catch-and-shoot player this side is Steph Curry. Watch Rodney Hood's effort and gets it out of his hands. Okay, in a small sense, we still gave up two, but I would point out that also might be the difference between the game right there. We won by one. Kyle Korver's making that shot. That might be the difference between us winning and losing a game. Just think about that for a second. That's the level. All right. Continue through here. I'm just jumping to plays. We're not really watching the whole fourth quarter together. This one I have written down. Alec to Rudy to Gordon. Brilliant. So here you're going to see the pick and roll. And what the adjustment the Jazz make on the pick and roll in the second half after committing 14 turnovers is they start slipping it. What was happening is they were setting the pick, and Atlanta was doubling the ball, and then they were making the next point. Atlanta then jumps the next natural pass. So out of the double, you have to throw a skip over the top, and the Jazz couldn't do it. So the Jazz started to bring the pick up, but they would slip it. So you'll see they come up here. Rudy comes to set the pick, and you'll notice he doesn't set it. He slips. Okay? So now Rudy fades to the perfect spot, rotates the ball on one motion to Gordon to the flip side. Favors can set a pick if someone's coming out. Gordon is wide open for a three. That is perfect basketball execution. That is a great adjustment by the coaching staff. That is how you play, and Gordon misses it. I'm going to skip in incorrect order here for a second because here's the next offensive possession. Okay, Favors. Go back to Gordon. Same thing, right? There's the big. Favors slips. Horford's caught backpedaling. And Rodney Hood, corner three, bang. That's the game right there. You don't make every corner three. We just made two in a row. Or just got two perfect looks in a row, and we hit 50% of them, which is, that's great. That's very basic basketball. They dropped but that's a huge adjustment from what was going on earlier in the game. This, I thought, was one of the best defensive possessions of the night, I think. This is actually the play after Gordon's miss, which watch the hustle and the work on Kyle Korver all night. Oh, wait a second, I've gone too far. Okay, here's Gordon's miss. We'll just... Now, first thing is that everyone gets back and marks up beautifully. Look at the hustle on... Now, Korver runs this. The Jazz switch because Hood was in trouble. The communication's fabulous. Now Favors has switched out on Korver. Hood's got Horford. Things are askew, but that's what they do. Korver says, wait, don't give me a pick and roll. So they post it up to Horford. Look at Rudy, recognize what's going on, and bring a double. That's not in any game plan anywhere. That's simply, it is a little bit, frankly. It's part of it. But that's understanding. Hood also does something very subtle here that's perfect. Hood gets on the upside shoulder of Horford, forcing the pass to be at an angle that allows Rudy to come from the backside. But that is what they're taught. I mean, it is part of a game plan, so I said that wrong. But this is incredible recognition by Rudy Gobert and the Jazz defense. Now, and I can't see who that is, but someone's slicing down the middle. Alec takes it. They forced him out of the trap. Look at Alex, takes that cutter. Cross-court pass to Mack, and Alec comes back, closes on it. Incredible effort. And Shelvin Mack is the guy you want having to take that shot. Here's that play. We've seen this play already. Watch again. Watch. Here's the pit. Doesn't work this time. They screw it up, so they reset calmly. Here's the same play. Nice roll by Derek. Takes one step toward the basket. Hits Rodney. Such good basketball. Such basic growth, understanding basketball. Okay, we're playing the triple wing, by the way. Alec comes up. What do I have down on this one? Gobert to Favors. So this is just ball movement inside. Similar situation. Alec attacks the defense a little bit. It's not there. Gordon comes up. Here you're going to see. And actually, it's interesting. You'll see this exact same play later, and Rudy does it wrong. Here's Rudy. Opens up beautifully for the ball. The double team comes. Gordon recognizes it. Rudy catches. Scoops to Faves. Easy two. That is such good basketball. And Mike Budenholzer calls timeout. So the Jazz, on 3 straight plays here, have had a Hayward open 3, a Hood 3, and now they execute it another way, and he calls timeout. And what you're going to end up seeing is they make an adjustment on the pick and roll, and I don't know if Quinn knew him well enough to tell the guys it was coming or what, but the Jazz recognize it. All right, this is just the value of Rudy, but also fabulous hustle, third guy into the pick and roll. Okay, so here it is, pick and roll up top. It's a tricky play. This is a really tricky play. Over here, Horford setting a pick on Hayward to free Bazemore on the right side. On the left side, Kyle, for those of you on audio, I'm trying to do the best job I can for you. On the left side, Kyle Korver, you've got Hood's got a hug tight on Kyle. Jazz did a great job. He only got 3 threes. But what this means is now Millsap's going to roll down the lane, and Favors got it unattended to. Favors has to slide out and affect the ball handler. Favors slides out, affects the ball handler. Millsap rolls to the lane. Schroeder throws a beautiful pass. The Jazz are in trouble. This play's been executed perfectly by Atlanta, except for the fact that 27 comes over at the rim, alters the shot, tips the rebound away, and that is the value of Rudy. One, he played it perfectly, but that's the value of Rudy. All right, now this is the first Jazz offensive possession out of the timeout. And look what happens. Here the Jazz getting their set, pick and roll. Wait a sec. Where's that double team? Remember the double team that was coming on every pick and roll? It's not there anymore. What happened? Horford drops into the lane. Horford is now, if you're on audio, Horford's back into the middle of the paint. They're not doubling anymore. So Rudy rolls. It's not available. They've got the paint clogged. And Rodney Hood, how good are you? Beautiful recognition. And he floats up an easy two. Right? On all the other plays we've watched, when this pick right here gets set, there is a trap coming from Al Horford. Rodney at this point says, wait a sec, that's not here. Gobert's picked Korver. Horford's not up. All right, I have a different play. He hesitates, calmly gets in the lane, floats it up and in. Such a beautiful, beautiful play. All right, fast forward a bit. I have down here Alec hustle. Here's Rodney just recognizing, misses. Wonder what happens here. Hayward, pick and roll, cross court to Rodney. Comes off a Korver pick, just nice. This is just playing basketball, just recognizing what's going on. Alec Burks' hustle here, I thought was remarkable. So Alec is on Schroeder right here on the right side. First pick comes, he top blocks Korver to change his route to get him inside the three-point line. Let me show that to you again. It's a subtle little thing, but it's a really well-done game plan thing the Jazz did that hurts Korver. So here, they're going to run an interchange on the far side, and the Jazz switch it, but look at Alec jumps up and gets on the top side. There's a pick coming for Korver with Al Horford, and Alec's going to get hit by that pick, except for the fact that Alec gets so high that Korver has to change what he's doing. So now Horford comes out to get the ball. Alec stays on Korver, run around the tree. Look at that hustle. Pass down to Horford. Jazz close, kick out to Schroeder. Okay, the Jazz have covered this beautifully, and everyone's still marked up. Now they run a pick. Gobert gets off his feet a little bit, which isn't great, but he could have avoided that because you don't really worry about Schroeder that much, but it's Rudy. They bounce to Horford for an easy layup, except for Favors comes down. And now the next guy through, Millsap. All right. At some point, they're good too. And they get the layup. That's just a beautiful play by them. But I thought, you see a lot of really good defense. And the coaches, I'm sure, would ask for one more effort. But that's pretty good. Let's go back to the Jazz with the ball here. I had this marked at a different spot. Let me see if it's, yeah, I'm off of possession. Okay. No, I don't think I am. 1840 is where I had it on my clock. So Alec comes off the pick and roll here into Rudy. Oh, this is a great play by Gordon. 7 on the shot clock. Oh, this is like huge play of the game. Again, this is the Jazz. This is great defense, great fight. Jazz get a turnover. Push ahead to Gordon. They don't have the numbers. Alec calls out the play. So here comes the pick from Rudy. We now know they're dropping, right? They're dropping on the pick and roll. So Horford's down. Alec recognizes, tries to come back the other way. He doesn't have anything. Play's kind of busted. Alec with a nice give instead of force to Rudy. Rudy with a nice calmly gives back to Gordon. Gordon, absolutely veteran move here. He's got the guy trailing. He recognizes Horford's playing back. There's no roll man to hit. There's no need to force going to the basket. It's not there. Pulls up and hits the little hopper. Really good veteran recognition. We talk about how many times you do this, being out there lots and lots of different times. That's simply recognition from the Jazz on what is taking place. All right, Alec Burks is getting so much better every day with his recognition, his plays, his seeing things. Here's the pick and roll again. They've dropped the big. Nothing develops. Over to Alec. Watch this pass from Alec. Drives the lane, brings the defenders, kicks to Hood. Rodney probably should have shot it. And look where Alec is now. Alex now, instead of staying in lane, we've talked so much about Alec playing off-ball defense or off-ball offense and off-ball defense. Alec gets out to the corner for a good look corner three, except for fact it's tough because he ran out there and he doesn't make it. I don't care. That's beautiful development by Alec Burks. Drive, pass. Rodney probably should have shot. Unselfish play. Move to the corner three. Alec runs out there for spacing purposes. Such good basketball. This is the next one is really the play of the game for the Jazz. They are defensively, this is just awesome. And this is not scheme. This is having the Wasatch front. This is effort. This is heart. This is why this team could be really good. Here's Millsap, isolated right side. Jazz doing a great job. They end up switching now. Favors on Bazemore. This is an incredible luxury, the fact, or maybe Cephalosa. So Millsap's on Hood. They think they have a mismatch. It was interesting. They didn't try to attack Favors at all. They just went and tried to find out who switched on Millsap. They realized that Millsap couldn't beat Derek. And so they ran picks to get Paul switched. And so Paul would be guarded by other guys. They didn't try to attack Favors at all. So here's Rodney guarding, one-on-one, simple play. Paul drives. Rudy Gobert from outside of the paint blocks the shot. They get it back. Sorry, that's my dad. Everyone's mismatched everywhere because they blocked the shot. Gobert's now guarding Bazemore. Hayward's guarding nobody. Cephalosa's open. Favors is back on Millsap. Hood is on Horford. We're a mess. Bazemore drives. Hayward, who's not guarding anyone, astutely slides down, makes a huge play here. Right? Hayward got mixed up. He's trying to outlet out for the fast break the other way. His guy's over here. Instead of watching, say, I don't have anybody, what does he do? He comes in. By the way, key moment in this game right here is that Kyle Korver has been checked out of the game because with the triple wing on the floor, he can't guard anyone. He's no one to hide him against the bigger players, and so he's out of the game. He would be Cephalosa's wide open guy right now. I bet they would have found him. Bazemore drives. Hayward collapses. Favors comes over, blocks the shot. That's just being great. And then here's a ridiculous play by Alec, in which he didn't travel, by the way. All right. Bazemore gets hurt, unfortunately, on that. He's been playing really well. All right. Now it's a 4-point game. 1:53 left. Korver's back in. Here's a pick. Wait a sec. What's happened here? Al Horford's up. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, 1:45 left, and Atlanta has switched their coverage back. Atlanta went from trapping, causing us all the problems. We slipped our bigs, made all those plays earlier. They started dropping. We recognized, and now Atlanta has changed it. And watch what Gordon Hayward does here. He sets that right foot in the ground and starts to retreat out. Recognizes the coverage. Now he puts Horford in no man's land. That little step right there, John Stockton-esque. You've all seen it from John numerous times. This is really a good play by Gordon Hayward. Steps back, in control. Horford's now stuck. He would have loved to bring Horford with him. Right, Horford wants to come all the way out, then he hits Favors. Now we're playing 4-on-3. Really, we're playing 2-on-2 on the far side. Okay, so now Gordon's there. Makes the pass to Derek. Derek penetrates, doesn't score. Rudy gets the rebound. We have another possession. But that's a high percentage shot. That's a well-played play. The value of Rodney Hood being in the corner 3. Rodney Hood took 8 threes or 9 threes last night. That is of huge value. We need high-volume three-point shooters are really important. Here's the pass to Favors. And look, look at this. This is Sefolosha is closing on Hood. He's letting Derek go to the basket. It's pretty great defensive play by Al Horford, by the way, if you're wondering how good a defense. Look at the ground he covers to alter that shot by Derek. Derek may have been able to go a little stronger, but nonetheless, that's just, you don't score every time. That's great basketball. Now, flip side, okay? There's a lot going on, right? Big moments. Haven't been there before. Haven't played a lot of these before. Gordon Hayward gets tied up. Remember, Gordon Hayward gets tied up? Gosh darn it, Gordon. Why the heck did you get tied up? This is not the play I was talking about. There, Gordon just lost the ball. And that's, he's in a shooting slump, doesn't probably want to take that corner 3. He's never been a great corner 3 shooter. Atlanta goes down. And here. All right, so it's a 2-point game, big possession. Gordon's going to initiate. Remember the play earlier? They get forced over to the right side a little bit. Remember the play earlier where Rudy made himself available and made the pass to Favors so beautifully? So Hayward's here. Rudy comes up to set the pick. And there's the trap. And look, Rudy's not available to the pass. Rudy's got his back turned to Gordon. Gordon's in trouble. Gordon probably, Atlanta traps us even a little more aggressively than the last time. Gordon's now in trouble. Finally, Rudy's available. Gordon can't get it off. Alec and Derek do the right thing. Gordon at least plays strong enough. Timeout called. No turnover. And you'll see, actually, here for a second, Derek explaining to Rudy, you got to be there for that pass. Here's the pick. And he gets trapped hard, fast. And by the time Sefolosha is on, by the time he wants to go to Rudy, the passing lane's not there. It was very good defense by Atlanta. Atlanta's really good. But you could just see a little bit of the difference there. And Atlanta changed up a coverage again. Instead of trapping soft, they trapped hard. Now, 3 big play. 95-93. 45 seconds left. And I think Rudy has good recognition here. 10 seconds on the shot clock. Inbound up to Favors. Comes to set the pick. Hood rolls off of Favors. And this is a great play by Rudy Gobert. You'll never in a box score anywhere show you anything about Rudy Gobert. But the double team comes on Hood. Favors is releasing out of the pick. Millsap is guarding Gobert. Rudy's got to get out of the way. Rudy rolls to the rim. Hood makes a beautiful play. What a pass. Down low through that double team. What a big time pass. And now Millsap has to guard both guys. Derek feeling confident. Millsap decides, you know what? I'm going to give up the 15-footer. See, Millsap goes back to Rudy. If Millsap had come out, Derek's going to hit Rudy for the dunk. It's great recognition by Hood. It's great roll by Derek. It's fabulous by Rudy that he went to the rim. We're spaced in the corners. And what's the kid from Atlanta, Georgia do? Bang! Ball game. That's such good basketball. That's late game execution. These are the areas where the Jazz have struggled, and we're so good. Let's watch it again. There's so many things that have to go right here. So Derek comes and gets the ball, fakes the handoff. Rudy actually does a nice job out here. It is supposed to set a pick. Korver's so aware of that pick, it allows Rodney to come back and get the ball. Now Rodney calmly holds himself with Horford there. Look how low he is. In a squat. Derek rolls perfectly. Look at where Derek gives Rodney a window for this pass. If he takes another step, that pass isn't there. Rudy gets him out of the way. Passes there. Millsap's got to decide. A split-second decision. I've got Favors at 18 feet at the top of the key. I got Rudy rolling. Favors, I'm going to let him take the shot. Steps into it. Bang! Ball game. Jazz by 4. Not really ball game. It took Paul missing a shot. But that's good basketball. That's growth by the Utah Jazz. That's really cool. I hope you enjoyed that today. That is tip-off. For those of you on the audio version, I tried to do the best I could. I don't see any questions, which means I haven't got any comments from anyone that they couldn't hear today. Maybe it all worked perfectly. What a nice thing to be home. Love having the white stuff behind us. That's tip-off. Thanks very much for tuning in. Talk to you soon.